Thank you, Professor, for the kind introduction. I learned that you have made your college times in Feldkirch, very close to Liechtenstein, so you're an insider. He's really close to Liechtenstein. You teach at University of Liechtenstein, I was informed?
I did, yes.
That's because I did also 8 years as a teacher at University of Liechtenstein for compliance and corporate governance. Of course, it was on a low base. It was beside the job I had in private industry, but I was teaching some classes. And it's always good to have people here in the United States who know Liechtenstein by own experience and by practice. So it's very good to be here. Thank you also, Claudia, our ambassador, for making this possible, for the invitation and for the convincing work. Because, as you can imagine, the schedule is full and the calendar is quite difficult, and I had to decide to quit some stuff and said, okay, I had other options, but she was very convincing that it's worth coming here for at least 3 days. I would have loved to come more, but it's quite difficult for me because, as you may know, the three parts of my ministry are interior affairs, so the whole police force, the whole fireman, the whole security issues are with me. Then the economic affairs is, of course, a big part. What I learned, what I did not know before as a Minister of Economic Affairs, it's not about the economy, but it's rather about the public companies owned by the state-owned companies, which I have to supervise. Means the telecom, the state telecom, the state power supplier, the radio station, the public station, the gas supplier. All these companies are mainly state-owned, the postal services, and they are all under my supervision, and that takes quite a lot of time. The economic part, I always say economy is not the job of the Minister of Economy. The economy is the job of the entrepreneurs, of the people in the economy. I just have to look after the framework conditions. That's a common misunderstanding that the Minister of Economy is doing economy. That's not true. So the biggest part on that side is really the state enterprises to have them running and to avoid mistakes. And justice is the third part of my ministry. We are doing right now a big justice reform. We have about 4 to 5 projects in the whole justice reform. We try to professionalize the second level court, the Obergericht it's called. It's the first appeal instance. We have a lot of non-professionals being judges there, which is of course important for the people to be involved in the legal system. But on the other hand, we noticed over years that non-professional judges coming from all different professions in appeal instances, if you have legal questions to answer, they are not on the right place. They are in the right place in a criminal court or in a JAUF court where you need people who have the common sense coming from the people. But if you're in an appeal instance, you need professionals, you need lawyers, you need really judges who know their business. So we try to change that. Of course, it costs some money, and we have a public, right now we have a deficit in Liechtenstein. It's a completely new experience for us, having deficit. We are not used to it, and we don't want to get used to it. So the government's biggest issue is to save money, to bring down the state administration on a level that we have a balanced budget again. And of course, if you do justice reforms, you want to professionalize the courts. That costs money, so it will be for me a big task to convince the parliament that it's a good invested money in that regard. Another issue is the payment of judges. So far we have no transparent system of how judges are paid. Every instance has his own rules, his own hidden agendas, how they pay their non-professionals, how they pay their professional judges, and our task is to unify the system of how judges are paid in order to make it transparent in the law. And of course, as you can imagine, certain judges are not so happy about this idea. So I have some resistance from the court system itself against such reforms, because they don't want to have this transparency and they don't want to have a unified system of payment. And other things are the instance, for example, in criminal matters, we have 3 instances in the court. Austria and Switzerland, our neighbors, have only 2 instances, and as a minister, I don't understand why we need 3 when all other states around have only 2 instances. So we want to reduce the possibilities of applying in criminal matters. All these projects are under the justice reform, and that's right now the biggest part of my work, beside the state companies, which have also, I would say 70% of my time I spend is about controlling the state-owned companies and planning and preparing the justice reform. And the interiors, the security issues are running daily business. We don't have a big issue there. So that's what I'm doing on my daily job. And as you can imagine, when you look at these 3 different parts, the calendar is very full, and it's also very demanding because you have every hour another meeting. And you have meeting, for example, you start at 8 o'clock with a police meeting, at 9 o'clock someone comes from the court, at 10 o'clock someone comes from something completely different from the radio station. So I have every hour you have to switch your brain to a completely new issue. And in the evening, if you come home, your wife asks you, "What have you done today? Tell me." And I say, "You don't know. Don't ask me. Just hand me over some beer and let me relax," because it's a lot of it's demanding, but it makes also a lot of fun, and it's very interesting. And I have learned already a lot in the first year. So it's really a very nice job being minister and deputy prime minister. But on the other side, it's it's hard. You don't sleep a lot. I mean, because you have to prepare all the meetings on the next day. Sometimes you have to read all the stuff, and that's what you do in the night. So when the children are in the bed and my wife goes to sleep, I start working again for 2 hours reading, just preparing next day. So that's daily business, and what remains are 6 hours for sleeping. So I won't do that forever, I guess. But for some years you can do that. And I'm 45, so I'm still. My father said, "You're a young man." My son said, "You're an old man." So I guess I'm right in the middle now. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And of course, what's very interesting for me here in Georgetown University is Liechtenstein's economy is very small. Of course, since we are very exposed to external factors, we are very much observing always what's going on outside, because of course we have internal problems, small problems, but we have some issues, but we are affected very quickly and very strongly always by external effects, by crisis, by inflation things, by currency issues. We have the Swiss franc, and if the Swiss franc gets too strong like the last years, our export industry suffers quickly and very strong. The Hilti, for example, one of the 2 biggest companies in Liechtenstein, Hilti, the big supplier of drilling machines and building technology, they were hit very strongly by the strong Swiss franc. And of course, that's also related with the US dollar. So currency issues for our small country are also very important. And since we have no own currency, we are dependent to others. That's what we experience in many issues. So self-determination is important and important for a small country mainly. But to be realistic, you depend on so many factors from outside: currency, economic development, legal developments. I mean, the whole tax issues. In the afternoon, I will meet the General Attorney, Mr. Holder, to talk about certain tax issues. We have to be very careful about everything going on outside, because we have not a lot of influence in our own country. So we have to be very active outside, to anticipate what's going on and to react in the right. And that's why we need embassies. Also here in Washington, it's very important to be present and to be active. And I want to thank you again, Claudia, for your long work you do already here in the United States. And we are very happy. Also, the new government is very happy with your services. Thanks for your efforts. So that was.
I work at the pleasure of my government.
Well, this was certainly insightful. Thank you.